seen again.
Yo, what's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over a new sniper build I've been working on with the update yesterday and the insane buff to Sentinel Cryo that gives us a ton of more damage to be able to one-shot all of our enemies with some awesome snipers. On top of that, the takedown scaling happened, so I figured this will be a good time to post some fun videos and builds, at least until the scaling comes back. Also, there are some insane weapons now with Sentinel Cryo. Go ahead and try out a bunch of stuff. That's what I'm going to be doing in this time, and in today's video I definitely found a couple. So before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Borderlands 3 Mayhem 4 Zane builds, and don't forget to join the Zane Nation Discord channel. Link will be in a pinned comment down below. So like I said guys, in today's video we're going to be one-shotting every Maliwan soldier's head off and using only snipers to get through the takedown. So before we break down the build, I want to give an honorable mention to the ion cannon. It is the best sniper in the game, but I just posted a build yesterday using it, so we're not going to be using one in this build, but it would fit perfectly into this build if you guys wanted to know about that. So let's get straight into the weapons we are using. So the first weapon is the monocle. This thing has 500% crit damage when you aim down your sights. It literally does so much damage. It's able to one-shot any Maliwan troop, especially if you hit any of their backpacks. They'll instantly die from how much damage you put into their crit spots. Now you're really looking for Sentinel Cryo on this sniper and all of our snipers. The new buff to this anointment literally doubles the damage. You definitely want it. I think it's probably the most necessary thing in this build. The next weapon we're using is the Headsplosion. This is a super fun sniper that explodes on shot and also explodes on headshots and ricochets. This is basically your close range sniper. You can still one-shot enemies with overkill, but otherwise it still only takes a few shots on all the Maliwan troops. What's great is you don't have to aim down your sights to get all the bonus damage like the monocle. And then basically this is perfect, like I said, for close range. And once again, you're going to want this with Sentinel Cryo. And finally, the last sniper we're actually using in this build is the Lyuda. This is basically for bossing. You can go ahead and spam this the entire takedown if you want to, but I actually wanted to have some fun. I actually wanted to hit some real snipes and one-shot enemies, so I use the monocle and Headsplosion most of the time. But this is definitely fine if you just want to use it for the entire thing. It's up to you. But when the scaling goes back up, this will definitely be a great option for spamming and getting through the takedown in this build as well. Now, I was mainly using radiation and corrosive versions. I actually kind of wish I had a shock one with Sentinel Cryo instead of the radiation one, so that I could get through boss shield easier. But to be honest, with the radiation one, it's not going to be too bad anyway. The shock one, it'll just be much nicer because it'll only take like 2 clips to get through Wotan's shield instead of 3, stuff like that. Now, this is also great for taking out death spheres. Death spheres are so annoying and hard to hit, so having a weapon like the Lyuda that's hit scan, and then the bullet split, and it just does so much damage. And once again, especially with Sentinel Cryo on all of our snipers, it's going to be great for death spheres. It's even great for badass dogs if you can't manage to get a headshot on them. And for the last gun, we're using a face puncher. I actually found a really cool artifact that also combos with this and our class mod as well, so stay tuned for that. So on to the shield. Of course, we are rocking the 0.M amp shield. This is going to double our damage every time our shield is full, and actually the amp on shield break will also be great for Lyuda spam. This is just an amazing shield in general. You should definitely use one of these. This shield's great. You can actually get this from Wotan himself, So if you don't have one, right now is the best time to farm for it. Now onto the grenade. We're using piss grenades. This is going to give our snipes an extra 20% damage to whatever target gets hit by it. Our clone can also spam these, so keep that in mind. Now, if you don't have the specific artifact I'm using, I think you'd actually rather use any recurring hex, because the recurring hex triggers the class mod. It's going to help keep your action skills up with good misfortune. It's going to help keep playing dirty active. But like I mentioned, we have a really cool artifact that basically combos with all this as well. So keep in mind to use the recurring hex if you don't have the artifact I'm about to tell you guys about. Now for the artifact, we're using a cut purse. This is to keep our ammo constantly full with the face puncher and the clone. We've done this combo a couple times on this channel. Now what's really cool is I found the static charge artifact. So if you get a cut purse static charge, basically your clone's face puncher will almost turn into a brainstormer. Now this isn't necessary for this build, but I just thought this was a really cool synergy because with the new class mod, it's going to give you all those extra triggers that the chains do. This is almost like an electric banjo, but it only works with a face puncher, so keep that in mind. And finally, for the class mod, you're going to want a Seeing Dead with either sniper damage or Jacob's crit. Those are the two best rolls. You either want weapon specific or crit bonuses because those are multiplicative damage buffs with Zane's other skills and stuff like that. Even splash for your head explosion wouldn't be terrible, but try to focus on getting either Jacob's crit or sniper damage. Now into the skill trees, we're running a slight variation on the build I posted yesterday, the one-shot ion cannon build. Basically in the drone tree, we're using cold bore instead of violent speed. Most of the time, since our sights are going to be aimed down like with the monocle, you're going to want cold bore because you're not going to be moving around a lot like with violent speed and momentum. Now, on the other hand, if you're just spamming Lyudas, then I suggest violent speed over cold bore. You can get a ton of extra damage from bunny hopping and Lyuda spamming. But like besides that, yeah, cold bore will be an easy to get damage buff. All you have to do is swap weapons and swap back. Now, when it comes to playing dirty, I think you only need 4 points. Once again, we are triggering the class mod so many more times than we're shooting. So by the time you go to shoot, you're always going to have playing dirty active. Now, going into the clone tree, once again, a pretty standard double barrel tree, except we're actually playing Trick of the Light in this build. This is going to be a good skill because it's basically just bonus damage. Rarely your enemies are actually aiming at you. It's always going to be based on your positioning and your clone's positioning. Usually I would put my clone basically right in their face, and I would go back behind him and kind of protect him by sniping all the enemies around him. So keep in mind you're going to want to play like that in this build. And once again, it's just another multiplicative damage boost onto our damage, and it's going to help us get those one-shot kills. Now that's pretty much it for these skills. When it comes to playing this build, just use your clone, like I mentioned a second ago, as a distraction. Basically, you can deploy your clone, run into your enemies, then swap places, and then zoom in and start shooting them all in the face. Like I mentioned, use the head explosion for close range enemies. If you're confident with the monocle on close range enemies, then go ahead. The monocle is going to do a ton of damage, but the head explosion's great, and it kind of does this cool ricochet thing where it ricochets like 3 times, it seems like, and they all explode. So it's a really cool gun to use anyway. I actually love the head explosion. And besides that, I really do just want to say the monocle and the head explosion are both really enjoyable to use. I actually kind of can't wait for when the scaling comes back, to when this is up to 4-player scaling all the time. I kind of want to see if these guns can still one-shot these stronger Meloan troops. I feel like they can if you're aiming for their backpacks for sure. I actually might end up using like one of these snipers in future builds. Like these really impressed me, and they kind of fit right in. You're usually just using Sentinel Cryo, playing dirty. Like these really fit into almost any build, and they're really fun weapons to use, and they're super powerful. And besides that, try a bunch more weapons with this anointment as well. I've already been experimenting with a couple things, and it's turning some weapons that were maybe just under the line. They are definitely usable now. I'm so happy about this buff. In my opinion, it just increases weapon diversity. And then finally, don't forget the Lyuda versus the Death Spheres. Those are some of the most annoying enemies and the entire takedown. Like I said, you can also use it versus dogs who move around a lot, and they're kind of hard to headshot sometimes. Usually I just use the head explosion versus the dogs because you can kind of hip fire, and they're easier to hit that way for me at least. But yeah, so that's pretty much going to be it from me, guys. I just wanted to share this sniper build that was pretty fun to play. Pretty cool using the clone as a distraction to snipe targets. And once again, that Sentinel Cryo buff yesterday was super awesome, and it made some of these guns insanely powerful. So if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Borderlands 3 Mayhem 4 Zane builds. Don't forget to join the Zane Nation Discord. Link will be in a pinned comment down below. And once again, just a big shout out and thank you to all of my channel members. I'm going to post all their names down below. I appreciate your guys' support so much. Thank you. Anyways there, guys, that's going to be it from me. I'll see you in the next one.